We want revolution.
Bookmark words on standby.
Log online, fan page loaded and ready.
Player stats, loaded. Health check, go.
Weapons check. Eyes check, complete.
We have launched for the Informant podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Informant podcast. I'm Pistol Pete from Stockholm. Tonight I have with me Jennifer, the Mafia Wars Loot Lady. Jana is taking the evening off, enjoying a concert, and I guess that just leaves you and me to talk about the pounds and pounds of material that have been entered into the game.
They keep doing that.
I know.
It was so funny because I was closing up my computer to go to bed, and I kind of knew it was coming because we had server images of new achievements.
Right.
But, you know, normally when that happens, it's like, oh, like a stranger swag is out or a collector's edition item. And I'm like, what? 2 new districts in London.
Mm-hmm.
Which is odd because Chicago, there's two unreleased districts for Chicago. The consumable items are in the inventory and they never did release them. And it just seemed unexpected to have London districts when people are struggling to finish what's, you know,
already there.
4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
And so some people aren't too happy about it because they're like, oh, I just finished. Nice to have some breathing room. And I was just like, oh, no, I'm not doing my walkthroughs for these yet. So I just made a summary post, and then I'll get to those tonight. But I did finish them on my energy account, and they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
Except they're a little annoying with the consumables. Because on the 8th district, like, you need a consumable to do the job that makes the I hate that.
Yeah.
And the bandits are crazy, too.
Yep.
You know, and what I noticed first about bandits, it seemed like if you had 2 going, you wouldn't get more. But I had like 4 windows with 1 on it. And they did update the bandit and bonus job loot items. There's now 5 of them, but they didn't improve the stats that much, which I don't get. Have you ever done a bonus job?
The ones that pop up underneath?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you do them?
If they're there.
I don't. I ignore them.
I do it, and if I master it, I master it and move on.
Well, and the thing is, you don't get skill points for mastering them. And if the loot doesn't help me, I don't get a skill point. I don't see the need to waste the energy to do the job. Like, what am I doing it for? The pleasure of watching the progress bar?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pretty much. That's why I do it. It's the pleasure of watching the progress bar.
Well, yeah, you have like 1 million energy. I have like 7,000. So.
I don't have like 1 million.
Oh, you have a lot.
I have a lot.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
And I now have 5,500 unspent skill points. So
oh, wow. I need them right now.
I'm itching, though. I'm starting to get that tingling where I gotta go spend them. So
yeah, just do it already.
Yeah. All those people out there waiting for the achievement bonuses.
Yeah. Before we get into all the pounds of stuff, as you called it, we should talk about what's going on in Stockholm.
Yeah, we should.
We saw
because
some interesting things in the game.
Well, I'm not sure which one specifically you're referring to, but specifically since we were talking about jobs and those things that are multiple consumables and stuff like that, one of the things that's been added as a new toolbar feature is an option to actually complete a tier or job tier, if you will, by clicking a full button that's added by the Stockholm toolbar so that it would do it to mastery. So if you just click the full button, it'll go continue to click that job until you're fully mastered. And then you can repeat that same thing for the next job and the next job and the next job. The downside is for those stat-hungry people, then repeat job is still your best bet for that kind of stuff. But if you're just someone that just wants to save a couple extra clicks and have the energy to do the job that many times, it'll just do it till you run out of energy. It'll also eliminate the bandit and move on for you. So
I like it. I like watching it when you click the full button. And it just does that. You can sit back and let it do its thing.
And for those that are standard click happy, you can click the 1 button and it will do 1, basically. So just another toolbar feature that's out there that now, saves some time. Again, for those people that like to save time moving through the game and don't want to have to do a whole bunch of clicking. So
I like that the 1 button removes their silly buttons. But
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask Ike is, instead of it saying 1, I would like to see it say do job. Like, the original
Like the
buttons.
old one? Yeah.
Yeah. The one for some reason bugs me.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I have to explain it to not everyone, but like in my head when I read it, I say do job.
Yeah.
Even though it's something simple and insignificant.
That would be easy enough to do, but yeah, I imagine it was just that people understood it was actually only going to do it once.
Yeah, well, he had to make it, he told me anyways, he had to make it shorter because the buttons that they have are so long because of their verbs.
Right.
So that was just the term he came up with.
And then that let the word full fit pretty nicely in there. But
And then, of course, you have a lot of people ask, they don't like it for some reason, and they've been asking if there was a way to turn it off.
And currently, there's not. If people do have an issue with some of the stuff that we add like that normally a lot of times we will add a configuration option in the toolbar to turn it on or off. And so if there's enough requests for that, then that's what we'll do with this too. So then if you don't want that, then head to our forums and then go ahead and request that we remove or give an option to remove that from the toolbar. I'm not sure why that would make that much different to any one person's game, because even if you're going to click manually, clicking the one button versus the option of using the full button seems like it wouldn't make that much difference. I'm not sure what the argument would be.
Yeah, I think some people just don't like change.
Yeah, that could be it.
I remember when David updated the Mafia Wars add-on, he completely changed the way it says health and like what you have above.
Uh-huh.
And I remember people really going wild about it.
Yeah, well, that's typical. Yeah,
I don't know if he has an option to make it go back to the way it was. But I just remember seeing a lot of comments on the fan page about
we do a pretty good job of getting configuration options in. Like when we do, you can disable the auto post. You can turn off the Union Hall 2.0 that's not applicable anymore.
That's what I was saying was interesting.
Yeah, the ZMC ag confirmation, those kinds of things, so are all configurable in the toolbar. But yes, the Union Hall is gone and now replaced with it's almost a, how do we want to say it?
I would call it a property module.
It's the Property Manager Lite.
Yeah, it looks just like the Property Manager. Even their little drop-down menus.
Yeah, but the only thing that I like where they're headed, but the one thing that I noticed, and I'm not sure if it was just me, but it never remembers what your settings are.
No, and I keep building stuff I don't want.
Exactly my point. And and that is one of the things that the Property Manager actually does for you, is it remembers what your settings were, so the next time you come in and run it, you can run the same things again. So here we are, we're looking at this new module, which makes it pretty easy to collect all your properties. It's all there right with simple buttons. It would be very nice to just have a collect all above it, and hint hint Ike. Maybe a toolbar feature.
I think he said he was going to add all the New York properties.
Right. But yeah, why they don't have an option to go in and actually remember via cookies or whatever else what your settings are on those individual drop downs, so the next time you come in you can craft the same item, and if you don't want to craft the same item, you have a choice. Mm-hmm. It's still for some people that hoard a lot of reward points or buy a lot of reward points and want to repeat craft often, like something like the Property Manager is probably better or faster, and there's other scripts out there other than Property Manager too, but that would let you craft those items a little bit quicker if you're repeating it over and over and over again for a couple 100 or 500 reward points. So, but yeah. So, what else am I missing?
But I think you all should be flattered because they, in addition to the Union Hall, they added a lot of features from the toolbar, and they also, with the confirmation.
Yeah, they had the confirmation to the ZMC. They screwed up the 1 hour and 4 hour option we had in the toolbar, which is kind of disappointing because that was actually something that they should have found a way to keep themselves. Again, not something that we should have had to do necessarily. It's nice for people to know whether or not they're accepting a 1 hour or 4 hour battle.
That's going to be fixed, though, right?
Yeah.
Because I saw you guys talking about working on it.
Yeah, I think I think Ike was saying that he thinks there might be a workaround for that.
I think Brandon got it to work too.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw something in the room.
Yep. So, but that's something that, yeah, we can probably fix back up. But again, you know, if Zynga just
You
puts it
should have
in the
never
game,
had
we
to
shouldn't
do it
have
in
to
the
do
first
it.
place.
Yeah.
But it's almost as if they're somewhat listening to feedback of, you know, things we say or other players say on the forums. But it seems like if you write a script to do something is when it catches their attention.
That's because that's the coolness factor. Because
Yeah.
I gotta lay this other one on everybody if they haven't noticed with the toolbar, is that now when you hover over those individual navigation links like home, job, fight, properties, inventory, and so on, we have Spockified it with the, hey, there's my new word, Spockified. So we Spockified it with a drop-down menu that will take you directly to the sub-items on that particular page.
Oh, we haven't talked about that yet either.
Yeah, so like for example, if you go to fight and you hover over it, you get an option to go straight to the fight page. You can go to the rivals page. You can go straight to robbing, straight to war, or hit list. And I got to tell you, this is one of those handy ones. Kudos to Ike because he was the one that spent the most time doing it. This one really came in handily. Can't speak. Handy when I was trying to go to my inventory and jump straight to collections. And that was really nice to have that drop down and go straight there without having to muck around with trying to get, you know, through the inventory. Then you got to click on the other tab, and you know, it was just.
Well, the inventory page load takes forever too. That's why I like it.
Right.
Because now you don't even have to mess with it.
Yep.
I wonder if they'll add that too. They should.
They should. And the same thing going to your My Family. Now you can get to a lot of those other things that, you know, if you're just wanting to go check out your family properties, it's a quick drop down menu and boom, you're right there.
Your roster, your battles, all of it.
Yep.
I have a question for you. When you see stuff like that, like, you know, we've talked about this throughout the years, like your Thai bot or Vegas chip collector opener thingy.
Uh-huh.
Then when they add it to the game, does it annoy you or does it make you feel like, oh wow, I'm flattered. They thought my idea was good and they added it to the game?
Probably more the latter. I mean, you know, for us, it's we do the things that come to mind and that we hear other players or players ourselves, you know, want to see changed in the game because, you know, we're going to get benefit from it. If Zynga finally, you know, listens to some of the requests coming from the community and add some of that stuff, then, you know, so be it. You know, we'll continue to come up with new ideas, and then if they add it later, that's great. You know, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a case of that we're bothered by them doing what they do. I think it is, you know, copying is a form of flattery, I suppose. So.
Well, and not only them, but it was funny after Union Hall 2.0 came out. I saw another script and it was identical. Like they even took out Las Vegas. The only thing they did was change the Rob Squad icon.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're going to sure, if you see a great idea, make it yourself. Or if you're going to copy somebody else's code, give them credit. And this goes on all the time. Like with my blog too. Like last night I made just a summary post about these new districts. And I go to another blog and I see that they had copied one of my images. And I knew it was mine because I like did Photoshop with it to make it show up a different way than it does in the game.
Right.
It's like, what's the point? Like, can you not just do your own work? I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, certainly easier and faster to copy than it is to do it yourself. So, but, you know, we've always had kind of the give credit where credit's due. If you're the person that wrote the code and if you copy it from somewhere else, then somewhere in the code, give a reference to it and say, you know, XYZ section was pulled from, you know, Spock Home Tools, you know, Family Manager or whatever else. I mean, that's just respect for the people that did spend the time to come up with the idea and the creativity that sparked it to begin with. And then with anything else, we've always left our code open to the public, you know, because we want them to be able to go out there and mod it because, you know, there are lots of creative people in this community that have lots of great ideas about it, and some of them have more time than we do in some cases. And so, you know, them taking on the idea of modding, you know, is encouraged, but mod and give proper credit. I mean, just taking a copy of the code, putting it on your own servers, and then changing the name and calling it your own is not fair. I mean, that's just not, it's not right. But, if you make significant changes to it, and it's, they usually say when you copy content, and this goes for anything, if you're going to take a graphic off the web and you make changes to it, it's like an 80% rule change, that if you make 80% or more change to something, then it's new work.
Oh, I've heard that before.
Is at least the perception on it. So if you're only making, 50%